this old ice house I was sent up to make that platform fit the driveway. Pickaxe and a shovel. This used to be a chicken barn and an ice house. And I was requisitioned to cut out for these poles on the and I did it in the hot sun on a summer's day and got sunstroke. It's different. I feel like an intruder now. You can see why I study on looking this place over. It doesn't get used. What the hell? This ravine is bigger than I remember it. I thought things were supposed to get smaller as you get older. Of course, I was never down here before. If I wanted to hide something, I'd pick a place like this. It wasn't easy. Really, it's not far enough away either, but that also would work in good if you were trying to keep something fast. Don't know why I'd want to come here or expect to see anything after all that time, but just to see the place where I thought about so much. There's something in it. And if this place hasn't been looked around, it could be. There could be something here. Looking for anything out of the ordinary. Mostly a piece of bone is what I'm looking for. Bones would be white by this time. If any of them were around, it would shine in the shadow. Also, just looking for signs that anybody might have gone through here, that people tramp here, and it doesn't seem like many do. I think they stick to the trail, 'cause this isn't pleasant. Still don't like this place. I don't have a good feeling. I don't have it. Pretty much I knew what would amount from coming. Just had to look. There's no harm in looking. There was another barn right over here. It was 3-decker, so it was 36 feet high. It was a big chicken barn. And the pit that they're talking about is just down at the other end of this building. It's just a place to push stuff. There was holes in the 3 levels of floor, push manure down, push it down again, and then a tractor would push it out to the other end with the manure and the dead chickens. And then it would just lay there until it was scraped up and spread. So it's not like it was a big hole. that never got emptied. In a long time. Just left with a whole bunch of doubts, Ron, basically. And a bunch of refused memories, reinfused. Anyway.
My sister Selena is probably one of the most honest people on the planet. She has a memory better than an elephant. She remembers sentences word for word, and she would never steal or lie. My brother Randy, he's also a very honest person, and he remembers sentences and things that people couldn't believe that you would ever remember. And he's a good person. He's had a rough time, but he's a good person. Outside the poultry barn, between the road and the barn, on Maple Avenue, I was taken up there one day when I was working for my brother-in-law, and he was discarding some old vegetables and so on, and there was a chicken pit, and it was a huge round hole, probably about, I'm not sure, maybe 18 feet in diameter, and it was really, really deep. And I was too afraid to go near the chicken pit to look down, and then the smell was absolutely horrible. I'm absolutely positive that there was a chicken pit, and I saw it.
Hi, I'm Kayleen.
Very nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Dwayne.
Nice to meet you too. And this is my husband, John. John?
Hi, Don. I'm Dwayne.
Dwayne,
Nice to
pleased to
meet
meet
you.
you.
Hi, I'm Kayleen.
Karen, very pleased to meet you.
Thank you so much for having us
Oh
out.
my gosh.
Hey, this means so much to us.
You guys had a wedding?
Yeah, we had a wedding on Friday, and then we get to see
John, how's
here
it?
on
John.
Saturday. And so,
Arizona? Yeah. You ever been?
I'm going. Vegas is his first.
I want to say I am so sorry.
Yeah, thank you. The bit of information that we have regarding the property was the chicken farm and the chicken pit, and that's yeah.
When you say that, not the chicken farm, but the chicken pit, oh my, it just...
There was never a chicken.
Never.
There was never a chicken pit.
Did this used to be all fields here? Like, yeah.
This would have been sweet corn, broccolis, and cauliflower. This is where the old chicken barn was, right there. It's a 3-story barn right there.
Oh, this is okay.
Yeah, this is the chicken barn.
Yeah, it's a 3-story barn right here. You had a manure pile, and you would just bring your buckets of birds out, and you would dump it in the manure pile and shove a little manure on it.
Like right out here.
Yeah, right out here in the open. This is all overgrown.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all very wide open and very neat and tidy.
Yeah.
We like to think we were good.
They were very neat and tidy.
We were good environmentalists, good farmers at the time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but we always looked out for one another, and I think that's the hard part is that, you
How
know.
close you guys.
Yeah.
So this is a ravine.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that. So does this go all the way, I mean, back for quite a while, like
It goes
a
back
kilometer?
to the
or
Trans-Canada.
to the, okay.
What became of this building after the ice shut down?
We actually grew chicken in that. It's hard to believe.
Was that in operation in '92?
No, Ron, that was not.
Where did they hang out when they would have like friends over here? If they, outside of the house, would they come up here? Would they be down at the barn, or like Jason or his siblings?
Yeah, he didn't have a lot of friends. He would be out in a garage, maybe on the mountain somewhere, and they'd be taking a motor out of a vehicle, or he'd be on his bike, tearing around.
Anything's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I am not that naive to realize that anything's possible.
Mm-hmm.
But is it? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I wasn't there.
The way I remember the pit is you go up Maple Avenue and you go in the little driveway to the first building, and right off to the between Maple Avenue and the first building, but close to the building, was the big chicken pit. Where I believe the chicken pit is right there. And I remember it vividly. I remember standing beside it, looking down with the sods all hanging down into it, and being teased by a nephew to get closer.
Oh, that's good. Sounds fierce.
Hi.
Hi, Sandra.
Good.
How are you? Thank you so much for seeing me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for seeing me. First thing I want to say to you is, if this is true, if my family has caused your family harm, I apologize. It means a lot to me to apologize to you.
So, like, it's your family, but it's not you. And you're not responsible for your family. You're only responsible for you. And any little piece of information, I'm grateful for it. My daughter, Kayreen, and I, like we say, it's just like a miracle that we found this out last June. And we also realized that if the RCMP had actually picked up on that Crime Stoppers call, that we would never have known. They would never have told us anything, pertaining to this information. So
That's
we're
sad.
extremely it is very sad, but we're extremely grateful that we know. Thank you for doing that.
But I think I did the right thing.
You did the right thing, and I appreciate that so much, and my family appreciates that so much. And like, it's not you, like you
No.
didn't do anything.
That incident with my sister and her son, why did Randy connect that to Kenley? There's got to be more inside Randy's head that he doesn't remember.
Right.
This used to be a huge farm.
Yes, I was thinking that when I came in. What a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day.
Nice clouds.
I'm glad it's a nice day for you to come here.
Oh, thank you. Beautiful place. Thank you very much for seeing me. I appreciate it.
Oh,
I appreciate all you've done.
Really?
Hello.
Hey, Randy.
Hello.
Randy?
Hey, Ron.
Hey, how's it going?
What did you have to tell me, Ron?
I thought you might be interested in it, in that this is sort of came out of a conversation that you and I had, and you were saying that you were sort of intrigued by the idea of trying to recall those conversations through hypnosis. And I found a forensic hypnotist who seems like the right person to try to do something like that. If you are up for it.
Oh, I'd be up for trying, sure. I'm cooperative and willing, but I think I might be too strong-willed and independent for it to work. That's
Right.
all being said. I'm not saying I don't believe it, and I'm not saying I do. I've got an open mind to it.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to try.
So, Randy, what we're going to do first is I'm going to give you a little talk about the way the mind works, the unconscious mind and the conscious mind, and how they work together.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm also going to then explain a little bit about hypnosis, a little bit about neurolinguistic programming. And today's purpose is just to give you tools to do it. Basically, we're going to build a frame. And it's going to be an unconscious frame. It's not going to affect anything that happens in it, but that frame will appear when something has been confabulated. You said you don't think you could be hypnotized. Now, what was your reasoning for that again?
I've always been told if you don't fully believe in it, that it won't happen to you.
You can resist it, absolutely. All right, so why don't we take the chair, okay? One more nice deep breath. Hold it, and one more time, open your eyes, and close your eyes. Down, down, down. And as your hand plops down into your lap again, just allow yourself to double the relaxation again. Plop. Down, down, deeper on down. So just allow yourself a few minutes. It's okay. It's all right. You're just interested in the thing as it's going, so we're going to count you back up anyway. Okay?
I never really was down. I was trying.
If we had been able to get immersed, if you weren't fighting yourself at that point, we would have been able to go on, and you would have seen, if you were thinking about the bear meat, you would have seen a frame appear. That can cause you to come out of hypnosis. Hypnosis is not whack.
No.
The hypnosis is, and then it goes
stages.
up and down. Right. Sometimes you come out of consciousness. Last session, Randy, we went through it. We went through the process of hypnotizing you. We tried some tools and things like that. You mentioned that you had some trouble with your thoughts getting in your head, and that you were actually trying to help me. So this time I'm going to ask you to not try to help me. Just let happen whatever happens. Okay. Deeper on down. Letting it all go. Feeling you more better. And 1. Basement floor of relaxation. Again, you look around. And you see that round circular room with the different doors, different shapes, different sizes, different colors. Each door still seems very, very familiar. Each door seems to hold a resource of some sort for you. Did you find that it was a better experience or a little bit deeper experience than the last time?
I felt that perhaps my body got more relaxed, but my brain is still dancing the fandango.
Okay, and were you talking to each thought? Today we're not going to worry so much about hypnosis or the depth of hypnosis that you're going to go in. I'm going to do a light induction. I don't care where you go on that induction. What we're going to be focusing on is relaxed recall. That's all I'm going to get you to do, is just relax and recall. Don't worry about what details come to you, what details don't come from you, okay? Every breath, expelling tension, stress, doubt, shame. Letting go of all those things that held you up in your past. In 94, 93, 92. Where are you?
In the hallway at the end, at the foot of the stairs. She's wringing her hands and wanting to speak to me. She wants to know if I can help her. And we'll talk to Jason. And it was as she broke and said, I think he might have done something horrible. And I said, like what? She would just talk to him for me. He won't talk to me. I trust you. Oh, the conversation with Jason. I remember even less of that. I asked him, is everything all right, or is there any trouble? No, he says. I'm fine. And then said something cryptic like, and if there was any trouble, it won't come up again. I was busy looking at his face, trying to read him. And he's smug. And I can't tell whether he's playing me, or he's covering, or he's... I couldn't read him. He was slippery.
There were some times where you were actually getting pretty well immersed, and then there were other times where you were I know you were just laying there talking to me.
I had no clue. I just was... My sister came to me freaking out and wanted me to talk to her son.
Yeah.
Because she was worried about him and wouldn't really tell me why. Just a feeling I got. She said, I think he may have done something.
Yeah.
You know, I never asked you. It just came to mind is there must have been a third conversation when you circled back with Suzanne.
That's what I'm thinking.
What was the third conversation like
It
when
was
she
pretty
must have
much
come
like-
to you and said,
What'd you find out?
what'd you find out?
And I said, the typical with him, he skirted, he wouldn't talk to me. What's this all about? And I asked her what it was about then, and she said, I guess, I can't remember what she said. There was a bay window here too.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a hearth with a stove, wood stove.
Okay.
That's a doorway leading to a kitchen back here with a
Right.
bathroom in it. And this doorway leads, the stairs are coming down right there and finish about here, and the front porch is over here, an entrance.
You were standing in this.
I was
this
standing near this door, and that's the hearth. Suzanne's chair was here, a little table there.
And where were you standing when Jason came out? And
Pretty much
you talked to him.
the same spot. He came through from, I believe, the bathroom, heading to go upstairs to bed, and I caught him in here. His was actually a little further over in this area that I stopped him and talked to him, but Suzanne's was here.
We're gonna take this from another approach this time, and it's gonna be a slower induction. And we're just gonna repeat and run and repeat and run and repeat and run over and over, just to see if there's anything else we can get. And go deeper on down. Twice as deep.
I was baffled a bit. I said, well, what am I asking about? Well, just, she either couldn't tell me or wouldn't tell me. I don't know if she knew.
What kind of feelings were you experiencing?
Kind of nervous, because feeling awkward about approaching a young man about something I don't even know what I'm asking him about. I don't know that I had any reason to think of him one way or another, because I didn't even know what I was thinking of him as doing.
Yeah.
I didn't know if he'd, stolen something or hit somebody with a car or got in a fight or had somebody pregnant. I didn't know.
What we're gonna do now is we're just gonna help you, assist you with a little bit of doing, because like I said, I there's certain information that you have given before, and this is more or less to help jog your train of thought. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a relaxed induction with you, okay, and then Ron is going to read your statement. So are you comfortable with that? And do you have any problems with us doing it? Because you can say no, and we'll just forget it. Okay, you're good with that?
Good.
Okay, good enough. All right, so flip yourself down. Just allow these words from your statement to go back into the mind of the person that was giving those statements. And when we arise from hypnosis, you can take whatever information you have. Now here is your statement.
I, Randy Saunders, remember a conversation with my oldest sister, Suzanne, concerning her son, Jason. She told me that she thought that Jason was interested in a girl at Acadia University, and she expected that another boy was competing for her affection. I said, "Yeah, so?" Then she proceeded to tell me that she had a suspicion that Jason may have done something to thwart the efforts of his competition. I say, "Like what?" And she says, "I don't know."
Slow down. Give him time to process it.
"But will you talk to him?" "I fear," she said. It was a long time ago, but as memory serves, a disturbing conversation to be sure. I was confused and upset when I approached Jason to speak about it. He was cool as a cucumber and made some short reply with a smirk that indicated that without really saying anything direct, that's something vague to the point of will never be found, or it's not going to be a problem, or some such smug retort. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it seemed to me to implicate knowledge of a bad act. That's all I know on the matter. Signed, Randy Saunders.
Okay, now, Randy, you've heard the statement that you've made. And I know I know right now, even by your breathing, you can see that this has caused some emotion. So just allow yourself to relax, but allow yourself to think about that conversation. And when we come out of hypnosis, we'll talk a little bit about it. As Ron was reading that statement to you, okay, there was a physiological reaction to your body. Your breathing became very, very rapid, and that's how I knew that there was some emotional stuff going on, or something going on, right? Your stomach started going like this a lot faster.
The part about my sister saying to me about the girl, I think that might have been put in my head by my other sister, Selena, who said there was that issue with the girl. I don't know that Suzanne actually ever said anything about that to me, because I kind of remember going into talking to Jason, juggling air.
Okay, can you
Yes,
remember?
That doesn't make sense though, Randy, because you came to Selena a decade and a half ago and told her about this. So she didn't put the idea in your head. You put it in hers.
Well, she was the one that said about the girl. I don't know, guys. I do have a good memory, but it doesn't always serve me.
It strikes me that you're trying to distance yourself over this past year from what you really know. Your description of Suzanne telling you actually nothing about nothing is not plausible. She thinks that her son was involved in a murder, and she doesn't provide a single detail about her concern to you when she's asking you to go speak to him. That's not plausible.
Well, then maybe I remember it wrong. Because I've already remembered it wrong 2 different times, 2 years apart. So, I'm beginning to question my validity and any use in this.
I think Randy's shaky as hell. You want to know the truth, the blunt truth. You could see him searching for answers when he was asked a question. And that is not indicative of someone being truthful.
Why might he move away from that earlier version of events?
Puts distance between him and the actual crime itself. Last thing this guy wants is to be a party to the offense or an accessory after, or, I mean, that's not on anyone's wish list.
Hello?
Hi, is this Aaron Smith?
Who's this?
My name is Ron Lamoth, and I'm a documentary filmmaker that's producing a film on Kenley Matheson, an Acadia student who went missing back in 1992. And your name has come up as someone who may have knowledge related to his disappearance. And so, in the spirit of fairness and in search for the truth, I thought that you should have the opportunity to be interviewed as well.
Next left, and then your destination is ahead.
This is the street, Varner.
Yes, but
But to park, I think we should
You
park.
have arrived at your destination.
goes-
The
keep
route
going straight.
guidance is now finished.
Good morning. Hello. Could I speak to Aaron, please? I would really like to talk to you, Aaron. I'm Sarah. I'm Kenley's mother. I'm just pleading with you to let... Good morning. Hi, I'm looking for Aaron. I'm Sarah McDonald. Okay, thank you. Okay, this is Ron. He's not taping right now. Ron Lamont. And Erin has agreed to talk to me, and I wanted her to meet you. Can you just talk to her, Ron? And just, maybe you can put her at ease? How about you put the camera down? And just talk to Erin. Is it okay if we go in and talk to you?
Sure. Come on in.
Okay, here.
Anyone who lies like that and tries to manipulate you, it's just you're instantly repelled by them.
Yes.
So that's how I felt. And then when you called, I thought, okay, this is the cop again, just pull another bullshit prank on me or something, because the trust was gone.
Right.
Right after that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And that was one of the particular things from '92 when Kenley did go missing, was like they just dismissed it, just like, you know, he blew off into the wilderness on a whim.
Right.
And there was nobody, like at that point in time, there wasn't university, like fellow students that were questioned as, you know, did you see anything? Did you hear anything? Did you know anything? Did, you know, what was university life like at that time? You know, that type of thing?
Yeah, well, see, what just makes sense to me is, with the university, they have the computer system. They have the email system that people was using. It was Pegasus Mail, the old DOS Pegasus Mail. And then they would have phone records. Where's all that stuff? I mean, they would have known who this person was around, their social groups, they would have known it all, because it all would have been right there in the ways they communicate.
He was very independent, and I brought him up independent, and he lived like on his own.
Right.
And when he was 18, he left, after he graduated, he bought a motorbike and went to Banff. It was like the first time here, not the first time, but he just bought it in June. And then he traveled in Banff. He worked in Tim Hortons, and he went to Vancouver. He planted trees. He went on a trip to Guatemala and Mexico, and then he came back to go to university in '92.
Right.
He was like 2 years later. And so it wasn't always a thing. There wasn't the way it is now, like where people text and phone to keep in contact. Because I would have had a home phone then with, and it was a party line.
I remember those.
Aaron, do you remember Kenley's disappearance? You were a first year as well in the fall of '92.
That's the thing, I didn't know anything about it, so the university had kept it that quiet that it wasn't until like a few months ago when that cop had interviewed me, it's the first time I heard about it. That's why I thought it was a prank. So.
Well, people weren't talking about it at Acadia?
Well, I wasn't on campus. That's the thing to start with.
I see, okay.
My parents lived in town, so I rode my bicycle to school every day, so. Then when I had a falling out with my mother there, it was probably second or third week into school. I had left to stay at my girlfriend's place in New Minas, so.
So when they showed you pictures of Kenley, you did not
recognize him? It wasn't a picture, it was a sketch.
A sketch?
A sketch.
They showed you a sketch?
Yeah, a sketch.
Did you know where the sketch came from, or who did it, or?
No, it was just like a charcoal
Yeah.
picture sketch.
Because
That's why I'm thinking, okay, well, this is a picture what I used to look like when I was that age, and they're just playing a joke on me. Because I used to wear like a little ball cap. I rode my bicycle everywhere. I was.
The RCMP didn't show you a photograph of Kenley?
It showed me a sketch.
The Horton students who went to Acadia with you were friends with?
Yeah. You know, we spent our weekends playing Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that, and.
You didn't go to like any of the Acadia parties, like Kroll Tower, any of the social life that went on there? You were Dungeons and Dragons.
Because you get a higher IQ group of people, we don't fit in with these crazy woo party people, right? Like, we're here expressing great ideas of mind and, you know, things like that. Science and ideas and stuff that's going to come in the future and whatnot. So,
right.
A lot of my friends invented the stuff that we have today.
Really?
Yeah, they're engineers all over the world.
Right. Oh.
We have a picture of Kenley. This might be better than a sketch.
Oh, yeah. He looks a lot like I did.
You have a problem with your leg, do you?
Yeah, it's half numb. The nerves pinched to my back. So all along here is all numb.
Really?
Yeah.
So a physiotherapist or anybody can't do anything with that?
No, it's the nerve itself. It's just can turn off.
Oh.
So did that picture look familiar to you at all? Like, did you recognize Kenley from that photograph?
No. A lot of similarity how I looked.
So I'm so confused. Like, where is this coming from? Like, I know you said your mom is probably behind this, but like, where? Like, what is she saying? What is the connection? What are these people saying about you that somehow you're linked to Kenley? I don't get it. Like, how did this come out that the RCMP is coming to you now? Like, did Suzanne go to them, or did somebody else go to them?
My uncle Mike, who's RCMP at one time, he got the documents. And he said that my Aunt Selena had 2 boys. And I guess they were questioned or interviewed. And so then they told my uncle, Randy, who's on that same side of the family. And then they got talking to Mom, and I don't know exactly what's going on. You'd have to check what stories they told.
So Suzanne, is this something out of the blue now in 2016, 2017, where she's somehow, the way you're thinking about it, maybe she's going for money for whatever reason, that she's just making up now, or is it based on something she believed years ago?
Oh, she's been constantly scamming and scheming for all the time I've known her.
If it's the Saunders that are coming forward, if it's like, you said Selena or Randy or these people, what are they, how are they involved? Like, how would they know anything about this?
I don't know. So my Uncle Mike has all the documents that the cops sent, so he just gave me a brief summary, so.
Okay, your Uncle Mike, what documents does he have?
He was given all the documents from the RCMP.
About?
About the missing
Kenley.
Kenley.
And what's his last name, Mike?
Mike Kenny, my uncle.
Kenny, and he's an RCMP officer.
Yeah, because he's the first one I contacted about this, because I just thought this was just out of this world, so I contacted him to see what he had to say.
Right.
About all this stuff.
Where does Suzanne live now?
Last I knew, she was in Kentville.
Where? Do you know where in Kentville?
I can see it visually because I got a photographic memory, but I just don't remember the street name on Campbell Road. It's an apartment building brown and white. And there's one building going this way, one building going that way in a parking lot, and then there's a garbage shed on the right going in. It's probably about 600 feet going into that road off Belcher Street.
So you have a photographic memory. Have you ever seen that picture of Kenley before?
No.
No, I'm just like really, if I could just find out where he was, like I would be at peace. I would be happy with that. Like that's all, that's all I want to know.
So are they saying that you said something to your mother about Kenley's disappearance that you knew about it?
Well, that's what the cops are saying. They said, well, you were telling your mother all this about this person and whatnot, and made it sound like I was having all these heart-to-heart conversations. Like, you don't even know my mother. This guy has no freaking clue whatsoever. So.
And did Randy come to you about this? And did you have a conversation with Randy about this?
I had talked to Randy since I was like 16 or whatever. Every time I really talked to him in the sense that I didn't really talk to him. Like, if he's somewhere, I would say hi or whatever. But he led a lifestyle that I wanted to stay away from. Like when I was younger, I thought he was cool. And when I got older, I found out he was into quite a few activities that would land a person in jail. So when I got older, I learned I had to stay away from that kind of stuff.
So that fall of '92, you and Randy never had a conversation?
No. Not whatsoever. I could have went to university years before, but my parents wouldn't let me. They didn't want me to have the college experience.
It was going to ruin you.
I was too young. So I got stuck sitting in school. Over my math class, I did the whole year's homework in a few months. I completed everything. The teacher had to go find other stuff for me to do. Gave me complex logic problems and stuff like that because I just become so bored because everything that most people would take, weeks to digest, I was digesting it, as fast as I could read it.
But you're sure that you did not meet, are you positive that you didn't meet Kenley Matheson?
Positive. I mean, the time I spent going back and forth to school, right? Because I was staying with a girlfriend and her parents and had to study and do homework every night. And then I was traveling back and forth with Mike until I started staying over at his place. And there was just no time frame for it. Dungeons and Dragons on the weekends. And you're talking about two different social groups, right? Like you said he did drugs and stuff like that. That's a whole different social group. Still drugs are gonna mess up your brain, make you stupid and slow, and that's just the total polar opposite of the people we were back then.
So you didn't smoke at all?
No.
Maybe you should just do a polygraph and send them on their way.
Yeah, well, my uncle said not to do one because of a medication I'm on for my sciatic nerve.
Is this your uncle, the RCMP?
Yeah.
Or okay. But did you contact a doctor about that, or?
No, that's what my uncle said, so I went by him because he was in the RCMP.
Right, but that's RCMP. That's not a medical opinion of if you could do a polygraph or not.
I just went by what his said with his experience, so I trust him.
You want to do a polygraph?
I don't see the need for it. I mean, it's like you're making someone defend themselves against something they don't know. You may as well go to the polygraph, right? Why don't you go do it?
Well, no one's saying anything about me.
Exactly, but why don't you go do it anyways? Right?
Well, you could.
Well, I could, but
you didn't know the person either, so.
But my mother and uncle and aunts aren't saying I'm a person of interest in a 25-year-old cold case.
But what if they turned around tomorrow and did?
I would do a polygraph.
Someone has to say something sometime. Just have to hold up for that, but in the meantime, you gotta live your life. You want to come home with a smile at the end of the day. So you gotta work on that right now. Work on you. You've worked on this 25 years.
Yes.
If he is in some afterlife watching you, he wants you to be happy and living your life and being happy. He doesn't want you to spend your whole life on this.
Hello,
Hi, is this Shelley?
this is Shelley.
Hi, Shelley. Your sister Sandy gave me your phone number. I'm the documentary filmmaker. She thought that I might be interested to talk to you. What do you remember about that fall when he went off to college? Is there anything like when, what was the occasion where you saw him that when he first started at college, and what do you remember about it?
I was sitting in the living room with his mom, and we were talking because we always went up there in the fall and bought produce, and her and I were really close back then. And Jason came in, he looked great, and he was all smiles, and we talked about him going out to Legends, up in the valley, there's a bar up there, and I said, well, how can you afford to go out to a bar when you are going to university? And he said, oh, I don't pay for any drinks, the girls buy them all for me. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. And that's all. That was the whole conversation. And he was gone. That was it. Because he was a good-looking man. He really was. I can't tell you how long it would have been because the weather was still nice. It was probably September. Probably was right around the time of this incident. Pretty sure it probably was.
Oh my God, there's the barn Jason ran into with the sled. God knows we almost all did. We used to come down this hill on pub sleds.
Aaron was described to me by my sibling as a spirit that came down from the atmosphere and liked my brother's body so much that she killed Jason. She murdered Jason. Those are the words that came out of my sibling's mouth. Not my words. Those are Aaron's words. When you ask questions to Aaron Kenny, you have to make sure that you are asking the right questions, because this person believes they are Aaron Kenny. They don't believe they're William Jason Kenny anymore. So they disassociate themselves from being the person they were born as.
There are plenty of people who are transgender and seek out and get sexual reassignment surgery. Do you think Jason is transgender?
I don't believe that Jason is transgender. My sibling started treating themselves with hormones. Never talked to a doctor at first. Jason informed me for about 2 years that they took hormones from Mexico. Eventually, Jason found a doctor who decided, yeah, well, I'll treat you since you've already done this so that it'll be safe for the hormones. She was told that she needed to see a psychiatrist because that's what you have to do in order to have a sex change in Canada. Eventually, when it came time to have a sex change in Canada, she was refused. She used her manipulations for a man in the States online, sent her to Thailand to have a sex change in Thailand. She came home 2 weeks before the tsunami hit, and that's how she got her sex change. Looking back at what I now know, pictures that I've seen that I shouldn't have seen from friends of my brothers, and stories that I've been told from friends of my brothers, I believe that my brother was dabbling with boys when he was younger. I know he was dabbling with girls. And that I believe that the bisexuality ran strong. Let's just put it this way, I'm not the only homosexual in my family. I know that for a fact. In 1992, when Kenley Matheson would have been reported missing, I was 12 years old. I don't remember what month it was, but I was in the fall. I remember watching the ATV news with my parents. I was sitting in my mother's recliner. My mother was on the sofa, and we had just finished eating supper. My brother came in the room from eating supper. The news about Kenley Matheson's disappearance had been reported. My mother asked my brother, that's a fellow Acadia student, what do you know? Because my brother went to all the parties. And my brother's response was, well, something that I will never forget. It was so shocking. Something that she will never forget because it was so devastating. And it's the reason why I'm here today. His response was, that little asshole, he hit on the wrong guy's girlfriend. He's buried in a bear cave on the back mountain in Melanson. Shortly thereafter, my mother spoke to his father, her husband, about it. My father relayed to her, don't say a word. So going to the police was not something that she felt comfortable doing because he was a police officer. He was the mayor of the town that she lived in for 30-some years. She was trapped. So in 2016, when the phone rang and it was the RCMP telling her, you need to come and talk to us now. About what? Kenley Matheson. Who is Kenley Matheson? A boy who went missing in 1992. What? Oh. During my brother's first year at Acadia University, he used to bring all of his friends around. One in particular that I remember was what I believe to be Kenley Matheson. The night that is most clear in my mind is the night, it's around 9 or 9:30. I say it must be a Friday or Saturday night. And then my mother, who has her own memories, say it must be a Monday night. However, the night doesn't really matter. What matters is that it's a nighttime and that it is Kenley Matheson. My brother isn't in the room at this moment that I'm remembering. I feel that he's off in the kitchen on the phone. Now, to Kenley. I feel that he's wearing blue jeans. I don't know what color shirt, but he's got a cap on, a baseball cap. His hair, it's not brown, it's more of a chestnut, but sort of blackish, but not exactly. And he's sort of slouched over but not too much. He's just nervous. My mom's trying to make conversation with him. She always does that, and try to make him feel comfortable. And you know, he's polite and he's responding, but he's not giving too much detail. He's not being rude. I think that night there was someone in my mother's chair, but who, I don't know. I get the feeling that I don't really feel comfortable with this person in the chair. What do I think when I look at these siblings heading off to Acadia? I think they look really happy. And I'm looking at someone I've met a few times, and I know that his sister can't fathom why he's not there beside her anymore. And I wish I could replace her brother, but I can't. And I don't know if my brother had anything to do with it. And I'm sorry.
How confident are you that that Acadia student who was in your house was Kenley Matheson?
100%. I wish I wasn't, but I am.
Wait, come on, hutch. Come on. There's nobody home. Do you know if that area here they have any like mountain with how you call it caves in it?
Not that I can recall of.
No. Oi. Oh, there's a door open there. Hello. There is a phone number I could call. Good morning. I was wondering if you'll be around on your property anytime soon. I can see you now. You are here now, right now? Oh, where would you be? I want to ask you a couple of questions. Back shop. How you get to the back shop? Next driveway down or next driveway up? Hello. We have a couple of questions, and we heard you know the area pretty good.
Yeah.
Did you ever heard about the cave, bear caves in the Melanson mountain?
Yep.
You did?
Just go back up the road until you come to Dan Jordan Road on the left. Just past that on the right. You have to go in the woods there. It's not very far. It's just down over the side of the banks. The bear caves will be on the right side.
On the right side, on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
Oh, I see,
Because
okay.
the ravine runs all the way up.
that can constitute a hole in the wall, right? There's no other way. I'm just going this way and then come back, looking for it. I have a sense that it is in the area, like somewhere here. But may not be very obvious either.
Or even something like this, like that's all fallen down, but there's something underneath it. And there is space in behind it, but I wonder how much. Because the way I see it, I'm looking at something being tumbled down. Up here, there's rocks with, you can see holes in the side of the rock, but it's probably too far up. It's like another hole right there. We're looking at something that's going in 6 feet. But I'm just wondering if we're missing something that might be at either end that, you know, might have been open or...
Good morning, Mr. Lamoth. I am emailing to share some information about Kenley that was passed along to me last summer. One day, last summer, I answered the door to my apartment and was met by another tenant who asked to speak with me. She was obviously upset and agitated, so I let her in. She told me that the police had come to question her about her son's alleged involvement with Kenley's disappearance. She told me that her son was an Acadia student at the same time as Kenley. At the time of his disappearance, she asked her son, no, I don't know his name, about Kenley. She told me that he said Kenley put his nose where it didn't belong, but we took care of it. He allegedly told her that he and his friends did some things to throw the police off the scent, whatever that means. She said she pressed him for more information and was told that nobody would find him where they put him, so she had nothing to worry about. She asked where that was, and he told her that it was in the Bear Caves on Melanson Mountain, outside of Wolfville. I asked her why she was putting this on me, and she said the problem was that she told a friend of hers about this info, and the friend went to the police all these years later, and that she knew I would be able to talk to her and keep it a secret. She was angry with her friend for going to the police all these years later, and she should have left well enough alone. She was also very upset and asking me if the police would actually be able to do anything to her son without a body. I told her that they may start searching the caves with cadaver dogs if they think the information is credible. She said her daughter's friend knows those caves well, and they wouldn't have anything to worry about. After all, according to her, if he spots anything, he may be able to move the remains before the police get there. She left my apartment and I was sick. That night, I contacted Crime Stoppers with all of this information, but they never contacted me for follow-up. Nothing. In the meantime, this family's behavior has become increasingly erratic and, fearing that they are being watched, typically keep their curtains closed, and there is a sign on the door stating that everyone who enters will be recorded. For these reasons, my husband has asked me to give you this information anonymously. I have been following this case since the beginning, and my biggest hope is that his remains be found and returned to his mother in Cape Breton. I'm sorry that I've waited so long to share this with you. I was praying that the police would take care of things, but it's increasingly apparent that they have not. S was wrong when she said that she knew I would keep it a secret. I've only kept it a secret because of my fears of this family. Again, I'm sorry to do this way, but please bring Kenley home. Sincerely, Jane Doe.
I 100% believe this family that came forward. I just feel that everything lines up. You know, it all lines up that something like this happened. And then, you know, I keep asking myself, why would this family ever come forward? So, I think that this is it.
Do you believe that Erin Smith was responsible for Kenley's disappearance?
Well, guess it's hard for me to, Jason, because that's what I'm thinking about, is Jason Kenney, which is who Kenley would have met at that time. I think that he is responsible for Kenley's murder. I think something happened that he either planned or something just happened that he didn't plan and then had to cover up. And I think stuff like this can happen, and I think it did happen. And I hope that the final step is that he does come forward and give our family that last puzzle piece.